Moses is the lawgiver who gets the Ten Commandments from God. Out of everything the Almighty can give, it's not quantum gravity, the mathematics of how life can come from non-life. He doesn't even give the ethics of rational thought. It's common sense things like, don't kill, don't rape, don't steal. But before then, God says thou shalt have no other gods before me. Exodus chapter 20 verse 3, Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Exodus chapter 20 verse 4, Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I the Lord thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me. Exodus chapter 20 verses 5 to 6, Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Exodus chapter 20 verse 7 So, don't pattern your gods on the sun, moon, and stars because he's a jealous God. As Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 19, Deut chapter 4 is a commentary on the Ten Commandments, says, Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them, and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. In other words, don't look up, don't wonder and think about the stars. As Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 says, Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Isaiah chapter 6 verses 9 to 10, And he said, Go, and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. This is certainly an explicit statement of God as mind control. As Exodus chapter 34 verse 14 says, Do not worship any other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. We've already seen plenty of evidence that religion is mind control. But the Ten Commandments is more proof. What's more, the Ten Commandments even says, If you believe in me, I'll love you. If you don't, I'll hate you. This is communist love. What's more, it says, Do not take my name in vain. Hence, do not question me. This is the language of communist truth. As 1 Samuel 15-22 says, Behold, obedience is better than sacrifice. The books of Job and Ecclesiastes give this communist truth. They say give up on reason and bow down to your Lord. Ecclesiastes 1:14 I have seen all the things that are done under the sun, and have found them all to be futile, a pursuit of the wind. 1:15 What is crooked cannot be straightened, what is lacking cannot be counted. 3:11 Yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. 8:17 No one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Despite all their efforts to search it out, no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. And the most famous biblical statement, which was echoed all through the European Dark Ages, 1-9, There is nothing new under the sun. There's also proof that the Hebrews thought the earth was flat in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 5, The sun rises and the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. The book of Job complains, How can there be a God, when I was born into this harsh world, both natural and wicked men, they say, but God moves the universe, surely, you don't want to stand in his way. May the day of my birth perish. 3:10 May its morning stars grow dark. For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes. 4-9 At the breath of God they perish, at the blast of his anger they are no more. 4:20 Between dawn and dusk they are broken to pieces, unnoticed, they perish forever. 7:14 Even then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions. 7:20 Why have you made me your mark? Why have I become a burden to you? 10:18 Why then did you bring me out of the womb? I wish I had died before any eye saw me. Job chapter 25 verse 4 How can he who is born of woman be pure? 31-15 And did not one fashion us in the womb? 5-8 I would appeal to God, I would lay my cause before him. 5-9 He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. 9-6 He shakes the earth from its place and makes its pillars tremble. 9-9 He is the maker of the Bear and Orion, the Pleiades and the constellations of the south. Job chapter 12 verse 24, he deprives the leaders of the earth of their reason, he makes them wander in a trackless waste. Job chapter 22 verse 12, is not God in the heights of heaven? 27-8, for what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off, when God takes away his life? 28-12, but where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding? 31-4, does not he see my ways and number all my steps? 38-31, can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? 38-32, can you bring forth the constellations in their seasons or lead out the bear and her cubs? Despite Job being God's beating boy and humanity in general, Job is beaten so badly, and figuring out nature is too hard according to Ecclesiastes, that he, and God believers in general, forego reason and submit to their Lord. God hardens hearts in Exodus chapter 4 verses 2-1, 7, 4-5, Duke 2:30. In this one, God hardens some tribe man's heart so that Moses has to strike him down. He does it again at Joshua chapter 11 verse 20. The book of Job also has Job asking, who else can control Orion and the bear, at Job chapter 38 verse 31 and 9-9. The Pleiades are a real grouping of stars, stars that came from the same gas cloud. Orion and the bear constellations on the other hand are an artificial grouping of stars, made by man. What is God doing controlling an artificial grouping of stars made by man? Another passage of God controlling Orion is Amos chapter 5 verse 8, seek him that maketh the 7 stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth, the Lord is his name. More astrotheology found in the Old Testament before getting to the Iron Age Greeks. Genesis chapter 1 verse 14 says the sun and moon are for the seasons, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. Psalm chapter 104 verse 19 also states this, he appointed the moon for seasons, the sun knoweth his going down. Isaiah chapter 47 verse 13 explicitly mentions astrology, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up, and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee.